All right, folks, it is 10 a.m. We're going to go ahead and get started. Make a couple marks here real quick. All right, so today is pretty straightforward and simple. We're going to review the joiner, and then there's a little quiz you need to take on the joiner. You guys should be just fine taking this quiz. Okay, so let's first talk about the main function or purpose of the joiner. Okay, so let me get a board here. And I'll zoom out a little bit so you can see. Oh, there's a lathe. Hold on, gotta let lathe in. Okay, so main purpose of the joiner, everybody. All right, is to flatten the face of a board, as well as flatten, straighten, and square the edge of the board. And what we're trying to do, essentially, when we use the joiner on the face of a board, is we're trying to correct things like twist. So when I place this board on here, you guys can always trust these surfaces on the joiner, the dado saw, the table saw, flat. If you want to check a board for flatness or an edge for flatness, do it on one of these surfaces, not on the tables. The tables aren't flat. Okay. So basically, twist is something where if I place this board on a flat surface and I put a finger at one corner, another finger at the opposite corner, it's going to rock. Okay. That's twist. In other words, the board's got a twist down its length. It's like it does this number as it goes down the length. So we can correct that on the joiner. We can also correct that one here. It's got a bow in it. A bow. In other words, when I set the board here and it's touching at this end and this end, and not the center, it's a bow. All right. If I flip it over, I can rock it. Okay, I can rock it end to end. It's not really twisted. It's got a bow. It's doing this number, rocking. Okay, hold on. I got two more legs. So a few other deficiencies that can be corrected on a board. There's more, but really the two that we're most concerned about is a twist and a bow. All right. So it matters the way you present the board to the machine. In other words, if I've got a bow like this, in other words, if it's rocking like this, right? In other words, I can go end to end and make it rock. That's the wrong way to put it on there. What I want is I want it like this, where it's touching at both ends and not in the center. Okay, that's how I want to present this board to the joiner. I want that face down. Okay, so let's take a look at. Well, let's first go over a couple other things. Minimum length on this machine is 12 inches. Okay, so that won't cut it. That board's not 12 inches long. That's one problem with this. The other problem with this is the end grain along the long edges of it. We don't joint end grain, okay? And the secondary reason we can't joint end grain, okay? We may have a 12-inch long board, but now we don't have 12 inches in contact with the table and fence. It has to be 12 inches in contact with the table and fence, okay? Second reason, or the next reason we don't joint end grain, as you guys should know, is when the end grain exits the cutter head, there's a real good chance it's going to take a big chunk out of the trailing corner of this. Let's try it, see if it'll do it. Do it last year. Okay, so you can see it took a little bit off, but it's going to damage the trailing end as that corner exits the cutter head. Okay, that's another reason we don't joint end grain. All right. This machine is solid stock only, no sheet goods. Okay, and there's a reason for that. We can safely assume. I'm assuming that's on. Yeah. We can safely assume on sheet goods, not on solid stock, that the edges and ends of the board are already flat, straight, and square. Okay, so we don't need to joint the edge. It's already also safe to assume that the faces are already flat on sheet goods, so we don't need to flatten the face of it. That's really the main reason. It just doesn't joint well either. But the main reason is it's really safe to assume that the edges are flat, straight, and square already. They're 90 degrees to the faces, okay, and that the faces are already flat and parallel to each other. So we don't have to do that. We don't have to plane them either, okay. In reality, the joiner is mostly used for preparing a piece of lumber to go to the planer for thicknessing, or preparing a piece of lumber to go to the table saw for ripping the final width, okay. We don't have to prep it to go to, we don't have to prep sheet goods to go rip on the table saw, and we certainly don't have to thickness sheet goods. We're going to buy them in whatever thickness we need, okay. So which ones am I missing? Oh, never under any circumstances move the guard on this joiner out of the way while you're running a board through it, okay. There's a reason these guards are there. That goes for every single machine in the shop. Any machine that has a guard, you cannot remove, disable, or move that guard out of the way. It has to stay in place. And if for some reason you walk up to a machine and a guard is not functioning properly, you need to immediately get me, okay? One other thing I just thought of, I want to remind you guys of, that if you walk up to a machine in the shop and it's unplugged, do not plug it in and try running it. There's a reason it's unplugged. Get me and I'll figure out why it's unplugged, or I may have unplugged it. So don't do that. That's just a random thought. Okay, so let's see if we can correct the bow in this board. Okay, so we'll mark up the face. Okay, and this is the surface. This is the surface. It's shaped like this. Okay, so if I put the bow down like this, it's going to rock on the center of the board. If I put it down like this, I'd have to push down to get the center to contact it. Now, contrary to what you might think, it really matters, especially when joining the face of a board, where you place your pressure, how you feed this through the cutter head, okay? So we have to use push pads, obviously. You will always use push pads on the joiner. Never bare hand a board, especially when face joining. Bad idea, really bad idea. So a couple things I don't want to do. Number one, my gap is right here in the center of the board. I don't want to push pad there and push down as hard as I can. I'm defeating the purpose of flattening the face of this board. Okay, it's going to come back still bowed, just thinner. Okay, what I want is pressure on the leading edge of the board. My rear pad is there more than anything just to be able to push it through. Okay, I'm not putting a ton of pressure on the back of this board. I've even on thicker boards kind of hooked the pad on the end of the board, but it's just to help feed the board through the blade. So all my pressure's on the leading edge, especially once I get through and onto the outfeed table. I want to keep pressure on the outfeed table, not on the infeed table. This rear pad is going to help me feed this through the cutter head, okay? And as usual, you should be able to hear when the face or the edge of a board has been jointed and it's complete. Don't make any more passes than you have to get the job done. You're just wasting lumber. So let's take a look at this and listen to the machine. See if you can tell if the face is done in a single pass or not, and then we'll look at the pencil marks on the bottom. What we should see, if it's a really bad bow, we should see these pencil marks disappear and these disappear, and the ones in the center remaining. That means we've got it set on the table properly. If we make the first pass on this and the center ones go away and the end ones don't, we're doing it wrong. So. So it made contact along the entire length of the board, but just barely. And if you notice, when I first fed that board in, you can see a little burn mark right here. When I first fed it in, the leading edge of the board got caught on the edge of the outfeed table. That happens sometimes. All you have to do, you'll feel it catch, just back it up in here and go again. But if it does catch like that, you're going to have to make a second pass on this face. You're going to want to clean that up. So we make another pass. had boards catch at the leading edge on a fairly regular basis. Okay, looks like those blades need rotated, it's burning. On a fairly regular basis, and I've never had it catch on the second pass through. I'm not exactly sure why it does it. There's probably some explanation, but I don't have it. Okay, so sometimes it'll catch on the first pass, but I've never had it catch on the second pass. And I'm looking at this and I'm seeing the burn marks on this. It tells me that these knives probably need to be rotated, which is going to take a while. There's 54 individual knives on there, and you got to undo every single one, rotate them, get them cinched back down. So that's correcting bow in a board. So what we have now is we've got a board that's nice and flat. There's no gaps anywhere between the face of the board and the surface of the machine. Okay, the other side though is still bowed. It's rocking on it. Okay, so once we fix one face, the next trick is to go to the planer. That jointed face goes down because the cutter heads on the planer are above. And the planer will help remove the curve or the bow from the opposite face, okay? You cannot put a board through the planer that you haven't flattened one face and accomplish the purpose of the planer, okay? That planer puts a lot of pressure down on the board with a pinch roller or a feed roller, since it feeds automatically into the cutter head. It puts so much pressure on it that it's going to flatten out that bow while it goes through, and as soon as it comes out the back side, it's just going to pop back up and you've got your bow again. Okay, so got to have that face before you go in the joiner. Now if your board is too wide for the joiner, okay, your best bet is to go to the drum sander, mark up the face that's going to be up, right, because the sanding heads on the drum sander are above the material, above the board. It's going to remove material from the upper face. Mark up the face real good and make several passes very, very light. When you see material start to take off the face of the board, pass it through a couple more times without changing the depth of cut. In other words, without raising the bed of the drum sander. And what we want to try to accomplish is have those sanding heads just kiss the face of the board. We don't want that feed roller to push down real hard and push the bow out of it, and then when it comes out the other side, kind of like the planer, it just pops back up. But a few very light passes until the pencil marks are gone will usually flatten that face pretty good on the wider boards. Okay, it'd be nice to have a 12-inch wide joiner, but I think those are probably pretty expensive, and I really don't know where we'd put it. So that's correcting a bow. This board has a twist, all right? Hopefully you guys can see that. Let me zoom that in a little bit so you can see it. Okay, so this board has a little twist. So I can take and rock it from corner to corner, right? So now this takes a little bit different approach to putting it through the machine to correct that twist, okay? So we're gonna mark this face up. Get that corner marked up real good. Okay, we're gonna mark that face up. That's the one that's gonna be down. When a board's twisted, it doesn't really matter which face you put through it. Not a big deal. Okay, so the trick here, where you place your pads and how much pressure you put on it. I'm not gonna apply a lot of pressure on this thing. What I'm gonna do is, so I don't know if you can see this or not, but there's a gap here and this corner of the board's touching. In other words, it's rocking like this, okay? So I'm gonna put one pad right here over this edge that's touching. And I'm gonna try not to put too much pressure like that. Basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put all my pressure on the leading edge and minimal pressure on the back. Let's see what happens when I try to correct this. Okay? So basically what I did was on this front pad, I put all my pressure on the edge where it was touching, okay? So we still have a little gap right here. There's still a little bit of a twist, and look at where my pencil marks are. So my pressure was here, okay? If this board was upside down, my pressure was pushing on this side. I wasn't trying to flatten this thing on the table while it went through. I'm trying to get that edge that was already touching just tight to the table and keep it there. So we're gonna make one more pass and see if we can get rid of this. These marks actually come pretty much just like this, and they start to fade away towards this edge, okay? So we'll do it one more time, see if we get rid of that bow, or twist, sorry. So basically, I'm pressuring it like this, not putting pressure on the entire pass. I still have a tiny bit right here, okay? I can see it. It's like, and I can actually see that it's not quite touching right there. So we're gonna run it one more time. That thing was really twisting. There we go, that's got it. Okay, so I have no more twists. I have no bow. On the other side though, I still have a little bow and a little twist. So it's the same situation. Now that we've got one flat face, okay, we put that good jointed face down on the planer. Bad face up. Since the cutter heads are above, it'll flatten the opposite face, get it to final thickness. Yeah, I'm not using it right now. If you want to go ahead and, great, thank you. So that's getting twist out. One of the tricks to this, I got somebody trying to get in. And who is this phone number again? Oh, I bet that's Enrique. Let me check real quick. There was somebody getting in with a phone number, and when they log in, I want to ask them.
The phone number would be Enrique.
Enrique, are you the phone number? Okay. All right. Okay. So that's the basics on getting a board ready for the planer. Okay. Now, once you've thicknessed your board, you will come back here. And the nice thing about this is, once we've thicknessed a board, it doesn't matter when we come over here to joint an edge prior to going to the table saw, it doesn't matter which face we put against the fence. I can put that face against it or that face because both faces are flat. Now this is huge. This is something that you might want to kind of think through. The reasoning behind this is such. If my grain direction is going this way, okay, I'm going to mark it on this side too. So it's going this way, and then when I turn it around, it's going this way, right? We always want to try and joint. Oh, you can't even see that. I've got the camera set up. Stupid. Hold on. Let me start over with that. Okay. So if my grain direction is going this way, okay, then on the opposite side, okay, it's going this way, right? So we always want to try to joint with the grain. Anytime we're doing anything in here, sanding, using a chisel, using a hand plane, joining, we want to try and go with the grain whenever possible. Well, having both faces parallel each other and flat gives us the opportunity, if we're sitting here like this and we're getting ready to join it like this with the face, with the grain going this way, that would be going against the grain. If we only have one flat face, we're stuck with it. We would have to do this number, and we're not fixing that grain direction problem. But having a situation, how do I have this, where we're going against the grain, all we really have to do, oh, I'm going against the grain, since I've got two flat parallel faces, I can just flip it like that, and now I'm going with the grain when I join it. That's the benefit of having two flat faces before you joint an edge for the table saw, okay? So joining an edge for the table saw, all right? Pretty straightforward. You need to have two flat faces, okay? One of them jointed, one of them planed. The option is one of them drum sanded, one of them planed, okay? If your board's too wide for the joiner. So what we've got here is I went to the bandsaw, I put a big dip in the edge of this board. I'm just gonna mark it up. This is why I carry a dozen pencils in my pocket. Okay, so it doesn't matter which face we have against the fence. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a look at my grain direction, and my grain is actually coming out this way. So I want to feed it through the machine this way, going with the grain. So I have that option. I can do that, okay? Or I can turn it around and get it going the other way, depending on the grain direction, okay? A little bit of patience and time and preparation prior to using the joiner can make your life a lot easier and make your material come out a lot nicer and a lot more consistent, okay? So as usual, one of the most important things we want to do when we're using the joiner, especially when we joint the edge of a board, is we want to listen to the machine. The sound the machine makes as it's cutting on the edge of a board will tell you when you're done, okay? In other words, when you get a nice consistent sound along the entire length of the board as it's cutting, done. You don't have to go any further. Stop. You're going to waste material, okay? It's a done deal. And it's actually one of the things I want to prompt you guys to do when you get back here that I think is very important, especially, it doesn't matter whether you're intermediate or advanced or beginning, is once you've got a board with your rough dimensions on it, I've okayed it, and you've rough cut it on the panel saw, assuming that's what you need to do, and you're getting ready to start the milling process for thicknessing, ripping to width, and cutting to length. I want you to mark up every surface on the board. I want you to put pencil marks on both faces, on both edges, and both ends, okay? And the reason for that is every single surface on this board has to be touched, has to be dealt with. Every single surface that has pencil marks on it has to be removed, okay? And that will help you remember, oh God, did I trim that in before I cut it to length? Did I rip the correct edge, or did I rip the jointed edge off, or whatever? Once you walk away from the miter saw, which is the last machine in the process of getting a board to proper thickness, width, and length, once you walk away from the miter saw, there should be no pencil marks left on any surface on that board. I don't know how many times I walked up to one of you guys and you're getting ready to assemble something, right? You've done the joining or you're getting ready to assemble it. And I look at one of your boards and it's got paint on the end of it, like from the rack over here, like Cherry's got orange paint on it, Poplar's got green paint on it, and you've got paint on the end of your board. That tells me you did not follow the procedure properly, right? How many cuts does it take to cut a board to length? It takes two. First cut's a trimming and squaring cut. Second cut cuts the opposite end to final length. You've got paint on one end, you didn't do that, okay? If you've got a rough surface on a face or something, you didn't joint one face or drum sand one face and then plane the opposite face. Who's got their mic on? I can hear you in there eating or something. Okay. Okay, so joining the edge of a board, I've got this edge all marked up. I know which way my grain is going. You will use a push pad. I generally, unless the board's fairly short, I generally just use my finger at the back corner here. Listen to the machine. Okay, you can tell I have about this much material left in the middle that's still got the pencil mark on it. We need another pass. Okay, still not done. Now I'm down to about this much material. And there's that consistent sound I was looking for along the entire length of the board. All my pencil marks are gone. I've got a really nice, flat, straight, square edge, okay? So, one thing I neglected to mention that I should have. I've got a good idea. Watch, this is got a plan. The same thing goes for the edge of a board as it does for the face of a board, okay? If I've got a surface on the edge or the face and it looks like this, okay? I don't want to join it that way. I want to join it this way, okay? I want the ends to touch first, okay? If I join it this way, you're taking a chance, depending on where you put your pressure on the pads on the board, you're taking a chance on just rocking the board as you go through, and all you're doing is making it thinner. You're not getting the bow or the cut out of it, okay? So we want to keep it like this so that when you're on the table, it's like this, okay? Not like this. That goes for the face and the edges, okay? So that's your jointer primer, okay? Please, if you have any questions at any time or comments or Brandon, you're an idiot, say something in the chat, okay? Because it's very freaking lonely here and I get bored and I feel like I'm talking to myself all the time.
I mean, you kind of are talking to yourself. Sorry.
I talk to myself all the time anyway, so I guess it's not that
Yeah,
big a deal.
that's true.
Yeah, I'm always. If you ever walked in here when I'm the only one in here, you'll hear me talking or yelling at a machine or cursing at a machine or something like that. I do it all the time.
Yeah, like
I'm
the
one of
drug
those
standard
people that
last year.
yells at the other drivers on the road, and that was pretty bad when I rode a motorcycle because when you're yelling at other drivers on a motorcycle, they can hear you, right? At least in a vehicle, you can roll your windows up. But I used to scream at other drivers while I was riding, and yeah, they wouldn't be able to catch me, but yeah, they can hear me. All right, so we've got now, I'm going to share this screen real quick because I'm a nice guy, at least on Wednesdays. I can't. Come on, man, move out of the way. Okay, so here's our homepage. I want to remind you guys to do me a favor and always check these announcements each day to make sure there's not announcements. I'm going to miss some time this quarter, most likely, due to a surgery. And so I'll be able to let you know what's going on. I'll probably miss well, I know I'm going to miss a week because of a conference, and that's the first week of December. And I have a sub, and I'll have all the days ready to go. But I may miss a day or two of the following week recovery, but the rest of the quarter, or at least a portion of the quarter, I'll be teaching from home. So that should be fun. So maybe I'll teach you guys how to detail a car, something like that. My truck needs a ceramic job on it. So anyway, so sorry, I'm getting off. So go to the modules here, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and make a quiz visible, okay? So there should be a little joiner quiz that's visible to you. If you look at Wednesday here, which is today, right? I'm guessing. The machine tool ID sheet is right here. So if you get stuck on any of the questions, all right, you can just go to the joiner, right? I took the quiz questions directly from the text right here under the joiner. So if you have any issues, you can use that, okay? Here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna go ahead and, come on, go back. You're going to go ahead and take the quiz. Once you take the quiz, type your name in the chat window and you're done. Okay, you can bail. So that's going to be it. Take the quiz, type your name in the chat. Have a nice day. It's Wednesday, it's hump day. We're on the downward slide for the rest of the week. Have a great evening. If you have questions, I will still be here until the end of class for any questions you might have. But once you guys have all logged out, I'll probably shut it down. Okay? All right. Talk to you guys tomorrow. I don't understand this.
Hey, Mr. Brandon. Yo, Brandon.
Zeph, I think you disappeared.
I think so too. It's all right. I'll hop it off.
All right.
I'll see you in a little bit.
All right.
Logan, you still here?
Ryder.
Okay, everything good?